Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is. I think it's primarily for carrier, but sometimes it's good to
Right.
have. It's a good way to get in trouble though. So we'll both take off of this runway. Um, Ideally, we'll just stick to our sides, right? Stop short here. Um, so something to mention: your turning off your nose wheel steering is probably a good option, and then controlling it with your wheel brakes and/or rudder when you get to a speed that your rudder is effective. That's what I'd recommend. Go to like make sure your full brakes, right? Throttle up to around 90. When you start rolling, let off and go full afterburner. And you can just adjust as necessary. And it will take off by its own. You'll probably end up pushing down to stay on a steady climb. Ideally,
Yep.
gear up, flaps up,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll just we'll both kind of pull right. Does that make sense? And do you want to just follow my turn?
Yeah, I'll catch up here.
Mm-hmm. We'll steady out at like 450 ish.
Wait, what's the contract speed?
We're gonna stick around 400 ish. It's not rocket science. All right. When we get to 180, we're gonna level off. We'll pull up together, and then we're just gonna basically climb straight into these clouds and above these clouds. Does that work?
Okay. Yeah, that'll work.
All right. Let me know when you're grouped up. In fact, I think I actually have.
I might overshoot you in a second.
It's no worries. Could have sworn this thing had.
Shit, shit, shit. There we are.
You doing okay?
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
On my
Why am
side of
I blanking on where the lights panel are? The lights panel is. Also, you can turn on your RWR on the panel. It's the rightmost button. Um, that's a good thing to have on.
Yeah,
In
I
fact,
don't know where
I'd
you
go
are.
ahead. I'd switch your dispenser from bypass to on.
Mm-hmm.
Go over on your right MFD or whatever MFD you want. Go to EW or electronic warfare. Um, Go to um, your right side and see that everything shows up. When it says standby, you're going to press standby.
Wait,
Oh,
what
you
says?
actually
What
might need
needs to
to
say standby?
master arm on.
It's on. Do I need air-to-air mode?
Well, don't hit any mode. Just press standby in the middle. And we're going to press mode until it says auto.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that page on my left side, and on the right side, I'm going to bring up my attack radar, so that way I have some situational awareness, and then I have my SA page on bottom right.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So now we're not fighting, but we are able to defend if we need to,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I lost visual of you like a minute ago, so I have no clue where you are.
Okay. Let's go back to uh, let's go back to the base. We'll reconvene. Um, I think actually see you behind me.
Huh.
Um, Let me try to get.
Yeah, I can't see the name tags. It's just the blue dots and they're fucking pixels.
Here's what we're gonna do. I don't actually know how to send you a waypoint. Let me think about that. I also don't know if we have data. I don't think we have data link pods. Let's just climb above the cloud line, right? So go ahead and climb above the
Are you already on
clouds.
contrails?
So,
No, that's not you.
do you know where the map is? There is the training field that we're supposed to be over.
Training area.
Yeah, that's why I spawned us at that thing. Is there's a whole training field.
Wait, what's your in-game name?
It is I think detached.
Yeah, I don't see you anywhere near the view.
Yours is.
Snakev3nom. Snakev3nom.
Oh, I see you.
What? I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
see you.
actually coming over to you. Just go ahead and make a 180, and I'll intercept you. Okay.
Okay. Oh wait, I think I see you.
Is that you above me? Rock your wings if
Yeah,
that's
I'm
you.
fucking stalling. Hang on, I'm stalling. Here. I'm rolling my wings. Or rocking them.
I'm gonna go ahead
That looks
and
like I had 14.
ping you on radar. If that's you, let me know. Okay.
Nope.
Awesome work. We captured Mazdak base. Keep pushing forward. Clock is ticking.
Can I not ping you on radar? Oh, that's what it is. Alright.
How come I don't see you on the map though?
You definitely should. Let's see. Yeah, I literally just passed you. Yeah, 1 second, let me.
Oh, you're
I'm gonna
Cake?
turn around. Yeah, I am Cake.
Okay, you said a different username.
Oh yeah, I thought it was under detached, but I didn't realize it was under Cake. Yeah, if you just keep going a heading, let me know your heading that you're headed and your speed, and I'll group up with you and then we'll go from
We're
there.
making progress. We just took over Gudana.
Alright, heading
We can now spawn
070
there.
at 200. Climb.
Yeah.
250 now. I'm at Angels 19.
Okay.
Spinning up at 300 knots.
Intel just in. Flankers are taking off from the enemy carrier. Location southwest of Anapa. Take out the enemy fleet as soon as you can.
You're still at 070, right?
Yes.
Alright, give me 1 second. I'm pulling up to you. Oh, what's your speed?
322.
320? Alright.
Better run out of map.
You're about to what?
Run out of map. Run out of edge.
Oh. Damn. It's okay, we'll go ahead and turn. Turn like 90 degrees. Alright, I'm off to your left wing. Do you see me?
No. There you are.
What's up? Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. let's work on turns, right? So, do you see under? Do you see that gauge I just showed you?
The up-down gauge.
Yep. So what we're gonna do. Do you know what a split S is?
No.
So, let me look at the map real quick so I'm not just giving you the wrong information. Let's turn left. Look at that gauge and make sure it stays at 0 when you turn left. But we're gonna go ahead
It's
and
not
turn
even at
left.
0 right now.
Yeah. So ideally, whenever you fly, you want to be flying at that gauge at 0, right?
Oh my, it's going all over the place. Whoa.
You also can see on your next to your
Hawk
altitude.
CFO, appreciate the raid, bro. Oh, I'm
Was
learning BFM. Yes. Oh, my speech chat broke. Hang on. Sorry. No, I'm talking
yeah.
to stream.
Okay.
Do the yo-yo. Look at the ball. Do the yo-yo.
So
Yo-yo.
a lot of times, people will like drop altitude and not realize they're dropping altitude when they're fighting, right? So
My thing's not even at 0. It's like at 1.
yeah, okay. Look over to your right where you see the. I also drop your altitude a little bit to like Angels 15, and you'll see your altitude indicator on your HUD. That number that changes is your kind of where you're headed, right? You want that to be
Oh, the
0,
negative.
and you see that velocity vector, the little plane icon in the middle, the little circle with 2 dots. You kind of want that to be straight on your horizon, right? Does that make sense?
On my MFD.
On your look at basically your HUD. We're gonna work from your HUD now. I'm just telling you where the analog things are, so you know where they are.
Okay.
Because a lot of time, like sometimes you'll get those knocked out in fight, and you'll still want to be able to actually know where you are, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I've had like you'll have an engine go out, and you'll want to look down. And you'll be like, oh, I got to restart the engine, but you still got to be able to fly the plane, right? And they're bad things to rely on, right? So go ahead and take a turn. What's your speed right now?
397.
397. I want you to do a split S. I want you to go up. And I want you to just turn around and go the other way. Does that make sense? And I want you to just level off, and I want you to ideally make it as smooth as possible. Does that make sense? So just climb basically straight up.
Okay.
And just keep looping around. And when you get to the peak of that, you'll apply a little bit of rudder, and you'll just turn around.
That's not the case. Yo,
Does that
hello.
make sense?
No, it doesn't.
Where'd you
Just
go?
got stalled again. Oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah. You might stall a little bit at lower speeds, but it's nothing you can't do.
He said, Spider said that's a split S.
Mhm.
Did I
Split
just-
S.
What?
Yeah.
I went up and just like. Lemon is up.
I'll let you group up with me. Where are you? Yeah, I see.
You're right.
Yo, what's up, dude?
My buddy.
Alright, so I want you to go ahead in front a little bit. We'll just follow you at a little bit of a distance, and I want you to pull another split S. I'm gonna watch, okay?
I still can't picture how to do that split S.
Okay, so you can actually do it with me. Go ahead and pull to the right. We're gonna move to the right a little bit. So go ahead and bank with me. And we're gonna go to that open patch a little bit of lower altitude, okay? Look over to your right, so you see me.
Still.
Yeah, we're gonna go like heading
yeah, I see.
115-ish. Yeah, like much more aggressive.
What are you guys doing?
I'm trying to teach him how to fly a little smoother.
Okay, now I lost visual again.
I'm over to your right. I'm off your right wing. A little bit further out, but I'm not too far out. You can still catch up to me.
I really don't see you.
Do you know where the base is? Let's just head back to the base, okay?
Well, like respawn or just land?
We're just gonna land. We're gonna refuel, and then we'll do it again, okay? And I actually have a way for us to do some practice dogfights as well.
Okay.
So, do you know how to land properly in the F-18 using the symbology?
Kinda. I'm still like really skill issued at that. I trim landed like twice before.
I
That's the
recommend
proper way to do it.
the best way to land the F-18 is to just be slow with it. You can always speed up. Like the F-18 is one of those things where you can always speed out of problems. If you're a little slow, it's going to be okay. But if you're a little fast, you can screw up a landing extremely easy. Trimming
I
is
still
good.
have the bad habit of coming in fast and high. That's still something I need
I
to
can
break.
fix that. I can fix that. I got this. As you
Yeah.
get closer to the airport, slow down and put your gear out. Don't,
Yeah.
don't
Hold on,
land.
I have
Don't
text-to-speech
land on
and
this
talk to
attempt.
me. 1 second.
Go around. Don't put it down here. Let's get you configured. It's more important that you learn how to land correctly than get on the ground. So just go around.
Okay,
Yeah,
try again.
and get your gear down.
Well, I'm not at 250 knots yet. That was
That's
my issue.
okay. I think what's safe landing, safe gear speed for a Hornet.
I think like
under
200?
It's 250.
Is it 250?
All right. Well then, slow down to 250 then. Put your gear out.
Yes,
So-
I do in a stabilized approach.
Yeah. Well, you gotta learn on speed. Are you familiar with the term on speed? On speed is a misnomer. It really means on angle of attack. When you put your gear down, you'll have an angle of attack bracket called the E bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, put the flight path marker in the E bracket. That's the E
Right.
bracket represents I don't know, 13 degrees. It represents the proper landing angle of attack.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he
So
doesn't want to
if-
go at it from that way. There's actually something that would prevent him from landing. I tell him he's got to approach from the other side.
Well, the approach is one thing, but trimming it on speed.
Yeah, that's what he really needs to learn.
That's the-
That's like a mandatory thing. Being able to just cruise at that speed and start descending at a decent rate. I'm trying to teach him about his
Slow down, slow
VSI. Like
Well,
he's starting to
right
learn about his VSI, which is good.
I'll slow down like this. It's scuffed. War Thunder strat. I learned that from War Thunder.
Don't land though. Just go around. Do like a left.
Alright, well, I'm told to land and then I'm said not to land. Like, what am I doing wrong?
Well,
I'm going too fast and too high.
yeah, you want to learn how to land before you land. So just go
Bring
around.
that nose up. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't put any
Gear
power.
down.
Let it. Go ahead. Put the gear down.
Yeah.
Okay. When the gear comes down, you'll see a bracket.
I see it.
Okay. Hold your altitude like 1,000 feet.
1,000? I'm at 2,000.
It's okay.
I'm a little
1,000,
out at the
1,000.
nose, so I can see him towards the end of it and kind of see where
Don't
he's
land,
at.
Don't land. Fly around.
Don't let.
Don't land. You're just
Okay.
gonna
I gotta pull my
land
gear
like,
up.
yeah.
Just
speed up
cruise
either.
right over it at AOA.
Fly straight and level with the flight path marker in the E bracket.
Yeah, basically you want to see that that circle all the way through your pass.
You're way too fast. Way.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I see it. Oof.
This is so easy. Just slow down. Put the gear down. Flight path marker in the bracket. Got it.
Yeah, I trim landed like twice, which is just using the throttle and rolling, and that's I know that's the proper way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yes, that's the part that I still haven't nailed yet, is just having the throttle and roll to land.
Yeah,
I'm told it's called trim landing.
No, it's called on speed. But you have to slow down. All right, hey, I'll leave it to you, Cake. This
Yeah.
guy is obviously
He's very new.
he's developmentally.
Be nice, T-Rock. Be
Yeah, I mean,
nice.
if you're gonna call me retarded, you can go ahead and hop off.
T-Rock.
I'm learning, bro.
T-Rock. Be
Someone in
nice.
chat. Yeah, alright, I'm going faster.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. You're doing, yeah. Slow down.
T-Rock, how old are you?
Go over it one more time.
Aren't you like old?
I had a few drinks.
You would have a few drinks.
I mean, it's a Saturday. Who wouldn't have a drink?
Hey, thank you. But you have to slow down, please.
Gotcha.
T-Rock,
Slow
he's
down,
he's
so-
like my age, right? I know you're
What
like
am
in your
I?
mid-50s, so you're a boomer in this community.
No, but someone taught me this. Like I got taught by
flying
anyway.
slow.
Slow the fuck down.
He's learning. Be nice. He's new here. He's new here. He's new to like the entire idea of not War Thunder. Let's be nice to that. Let's encourage that. We need less War Thunder and more DCS and more like MSFS.
Yes.
Like, come on. Let's not discourage him.
Okay, good. Slow down more.
All right.
I just put the gear down here and continue to slow.
Yeah.
Flaps on.
Okay, see the bracket? Trim
Yes.
so that you're flying straight
Well,
and level.
my elevation's really high right now, isn't it?
Just put the flight path marker on the horizon so you're flying straight and level.
And I'm gonna overshoot it because of my altitude, right?
You're not trying to land. We're trying to teach you something. And if every time you try to
Oh, what?
land, we're trying to teach you something.
I thought you were teaching me how to land.
No, well, you have to. There's steps. You're not even
There are
doing
baby
step
steps, right?
There's steps, yeah. Put the flight path marker. Ignore the runway. Put the flight path marker on the horizon so you fly straight and level. Okay.
We can actually do
Then-
this at a much higher altitude, so there's less consequence. I think that's what we do.
Matter. Just slow down so that the bracket comes down. You're too fast.
Yeah, he also doesn't understand that yet. Let's work at this at high altitude. Do you care if I take over T-Rock?
Stay right here. Stay right here. Keep the FPM on the horizon and slow down. Get your gear down. Why do you keep putting the gear up?
This is the part of backseat gaming where it's kind of becoming a killer.
Nah, I'm sorry, but you gotta. You gotta.
Maybe
listen
maybe
for
help
a
me out when
minute.
you're sober. Maybe help me out when you're sober.
All right, but you can't just keep landing like. All right,
It's a
let me
video
try
game.
one.
I'll-
Let me
I'll
try
do what I
one more
want,
time.
but
Let me
right
try
now I
one more
wanna
time. I know, but you're not paying attention.
T-Rock, let me take over. I think I'm
kinda
gonna be a
being
better teacher here.
overwhelmed by several people trying to teach me. I have chat and Twitch teaching me. I have this guy here teaching me.
Let's limit it to one
I have
person,
drunk
less
and
input,
it's
right?
kind of-
Like we don't want to overwhelm. There's a lot of DCS is a lot of information, right? Let's not overwhelm him. Let's do this.
Slow down.
Go ahead.
Slow down.
Ignore what T-Rock is telling you now, and start
Slow
listening to
down.
me, and just like only listen to me, one thing at a time, okay? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
All right. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna climb. Go ahead. Just set everything back to where it was to like a flight configuration, and just climb to like. I don't know. What's your fuel at right now?
It's 7,200.
72. 7,200. Yep. Just climb vertical, pretty much. Just head to the sky and get to like 20,000 feet, and we'll go from there. Okay.
All right.
We'll make more decisions when we get to 20,000 feet over the runway, and we're above all the clouds. You know. All right. And I'm just gonna chill kind of in the same area as the runway, and then once we're up really high, we can go to slower speeds and work on the exact same thing he's doing, but you don't have to worry about the consequence of too much information, right? We'll work at things slowly, okay? First, we'll start with slow flight, right? Then we'll move to slow flight with, flaps. Then we'll move to slow flight with flaps and gear. And then we'll talk about descents and like how fast you're losing speed at, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
It'll probably be a lot more digestible.
That's the last target. We have captured Malchik. You can now spawn there.
Trying to figure out exactly where you are. I'm at like 25,000 feet. I feel like that's a good number. I like that number a lot.
Yeah, I'm at 24. Climb a little bit.
24, 25.
Level up.
Figure out exactly where you are. You are behind me. Go ahead and just hit a straight 90-degree to your left. Does that work for you?
All right, 90-degree left.
Yeah, and we'll just group up at this rate. Yep, I see you. Perfect, dude.
Well, I'm like inside a cloud right now. Oops.
Yeah. So this is one of those instances where being able to have that situational awareness is really cool. Sometimes it's hard to see your HUD, so looking down at your SAI and your analog, what's called a VSI, vertical situation indicator, is hugely helpful, right? Because then you can be in a place where you see nothing, and you can still know where you are and where you're headed. Does that make sense? Hey, what's up?
So,
Okay.
that's the thing on the bottom, right?
Yep, the thing at the bottom. I find myself, and when I hit clouds, I just ignore the thing because it's hard to see, and I just go straight for the analog indicators because that's what I learned on, right? And that's good practice. You know? If your engine stalls out and you need to be able to see, it's good to know how to do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna catch up to you. Just keep heading the way you're heading.
Alright, I'll slow down a little bit.
I'll group up with you, and we'll work on slow flight.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep.
What's your speed right now, and what's your heading?
I'm at 265 and 350 decline. So I'm slowing down.
Perfect.
Oh,
All right.
Now he's slowing down. Why you had to come up to 25,000 feet to slow down?
Did you not hear our conversation a few minutes
Well,
ago?
it's a little bit of like situational overwhelm, right? When there's less going on, it's sometimes easier for people to focus, especially with a bunch of new information all at once, right? One person talking and one less visual
You don't have a
indicators,
throttle.
right?
You have a throttle? You have a throttle unit?
That is a good question.
No,
Do
I
you have a
the
throttle?
Logitech X3D Pro.
Do you have any kind of
Slider?
slider to adjust your throttle?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're adjusting your throttle with a slider, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Give me just a second. I'm catching up to you right now.
Okay. I'm at 300 now. I'm gonna stay at 300.
Why? So slow down so you put the landing gear down.
Let me
What's-
let me
you
catch
just
up
told me
to.
50.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry, two. What's up?
Why does he need you to fly alongside?
Because I want to kind of work on his AOA from another angle.
It
Okay,
makes no sense.
just calm down.
Let's see, what's your name here?
D-Rock, trust the process. So,
You're
What I want you to do is I want you to slow down, basically do a stall, alright? No flaps, no gear, no nothing, okay? As slow as you can go without losing altitude, okay? And you see that, that velocity vector? I want that velocity vector above that bracket.
That's not a velocity vector.
Well, what is he looking at?
The 3 lines?
That is
Yeah, circle with
referred to as a flight path marker.
That's right
Flight
on
path
the
marker. It's, look,
It is not a velocity
comprehensible information. Like, we want it to be understandable.
vector. You have to use the right terms.
Okay. That's fair. Alright, so let's just keep it above that line and go as slow as we can, okay?
above it.
And we're gonna just practice chilling there, you know?
Right.
You're a bad teacher. Just put the gear down and put the fucking thing in the bracket. Here, watch this.
Okay, I'm dropping
Where are
altitude
you?
right now.
You're like right
cannot
under me. Okay, we're
watch
good.
past-
Okay, so I want you, what's your speed right now?
115 and down. I'm losing altitude now.
Okay, so as you are losing altitude, I want you to use your without moving your stick at all, like basically keep your angle where it's
Yeah, I
at.
made a mistake.
I want you to just literally focus on only adjusting your altitude with that throttle, right? Because a lot of times what you're doing is not adjusting your altitude. You don't want to pitch up because you'll create more drag, right? So I want you to just create altitude with your throttle, and that's a good practice to be in.
So
You know?
throttle up.
So when you throttle up, you should see that indicator go upwards, right? Does that make
Okay,
sense?
Okay. Sorry, what'd you say?
So as you throttle up, you'll see that indicator go up, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, he's being a dick. I didn't mute him. Yes. So yeah, I slowly see my velocity vector going up as I'm throttled up a little bit.
Yeah, so that's basically how you want to adjust your angle when you're landing. You really don't want to have to mess with something like pitching up and adjusting your wings. Ideally, you're just on the right path and you just adjust how aggressively you're landing or how aggressively you're descending. You can actually see it in real time if you look at that indicator to your bottom right. And you can actually
It's only at
adjust.
the 6.
Yeah, and you can use that the throttle to adjust where you're at, right? As long as you're on the same heading, that will determine how fast you're slowing down, right? Or how fast you're going down, right? So that is your vertical speed, right? And that vertical speed is really important. What's your fuel look like? Out of curiosity, man, what's your fuel look like?
5,800 pounds.
5,800. We're probably needing to get back now. So what we're going to do, we're going to go land using that exact same thing. I know T-Rock said just don't land if you're doing it wrong. Don't listen to him. Follow what I do, and you'll do it. You'll
Yeah,
be just fine, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to head back to the airport we were just at. So I want you to just take a complete 180. This actually, before you do that,
Yep.
I want you to do this. Watch what I do. I'm gonna go out in front of you, and I want you to follow my lead. This is called an Immelman maneuver, I think. So, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull out in front. I'm going to invert my jet. I'm gonna reduce my speed. I'm gonna pull as hard as I can.
Right.
and I am going to go the other direction. Does that make sense? Careful not to overspeed on the
That's a split
dive.
S?
I believe that's an Immelman.
Oh, Immelman is upward, he says.
Oh, Immelman is upwards and Split S is downwards? Learn something new every day. Hey, I'm not going to claim to be an expert. I just do this for fun. So I'm teaching you the basics that I know, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
I
I'm
may
not-
give you wrong information, and I'm not going to act like I know everything. I definitely don't. There are many people who know much more than me. Does that make sense?
Okay, so try to do the split S now.
Yeah, try to do the split S. Keep your speed kind of low so you're not flying at the ground. And when you're diving, just reduce your speed basically all the way. Air brake helps. If you're stalling out, throw yourself a little bit of flaps when you're recovering.
Oh, I'm flat falling right now.
Oh, you're flat falling?
Yeah.
Maybe
And
that was
flaps
too
are
soon.
up, and I'm trying to. Yeah.
Are you gonna
That's-
crash?
That's a fuck up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We'll restart at the same airport. That's okay. That's a little bit of an advanced thing. So these are things that are good to know so that when you do dogfight, you're not like set up for failure, right? It's the basics. Does that make
Spider
sense?
says he needed to teach me the hammerhead before the split S.
The hammerhead?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, ask him if he's talking about that thing where you go inverted and you're just reducing altitude.
Oh, he can hear you in chat.
Oh shit.
His
Let
responses.
me confirm. I don't. Yeah, let me look up the hammerhead. I might be blanking.
He says go up 90 degrees, then rudder over. Well, that's the thing about the Hornet is that it doesn't get much rudder.
Oh, okay.
When I
Yeah, that's
stall.
good.
Rudder over when I stall. Okay.
Oh, it's a stall turn.
You'd say hammer is more advanced than the split S in Immelman?
Oh yeah, I can teach him the hammerhead. We'll go through that. I mean, you have a lot of the basics. Let's just try to. And again, you're probably not going to be doing a lot of landing at air bases. Let's work on some of the maneuvers. Hammerhead's a great thing to teach. We're gonna first start with this thing called a chantel. And it's gonna be a way to prevent stalling. So again, spawn back at that same airport, but this time spawn hot.
Oh,
So
I didn't
when you
spawn
get,
hot.
what's up?
I didn't spawn hot.
Oh, okay. You might want to just respawn. It's just gonna basically that puts you in a jet that's completely ready. That's the
Thanks
difference.
for the follow, CFO.
Tell them to go
Okay,
follow
awesome.
me too.
Well, shit, link your channel right now.
Oh, it's Skill Krill. Wait, did you put me in the thing? See, I'm featuring you. I feel
Skill
so-
Krill
I
is
feel
just
s-
Skull Krill.
Skill Krill. I feel so
yeah, you're
betrayed. Honestly, I don't think I'll ever recover.
No. Look at the Twitch. Look at the stream name.
What is it? Okay, hold up. Let me see. I'm just
Stream name
messing.
Learning BFM with Skill Krill.
I'm just messing with you, man. I'm just teasing you.
Okay.
All right, let's do this.
Is that drunk still here? Okay, cool.
No, he's gone. T-Rock is an acquired taste.
Well, those are
T-Rock is not an acquired taste. T-Rock is difficult. Some of the guys in here are difficult personalities, right?
Okay, well, I'll make sure I stay away from them. I don't like difficult people. I've already dealt with plenty of them.
What I can tell you about the server is it attracts two kinds of people, three kinds of people. Normal people who are like curious and like to learn. People who think they're better than everybody else, and like people who are viciously autistic. There's nobody else who plays this game. You know?
Oh, Hawk CFO says T-Rock is in Mobetta Meta's server, isn't he? I've killed him many times. He likes the Viper. Does T-Rock like the Viper?
T-Rock likes the Viper. That sounds about right. T-Rock
Yeah,
is
small world then. Hawk CFO knows.
T-Rock is, how do you put this? He likes to bring up politics a lot in the chat. He's just a difficult person to get along with, I think is the best way to put it.
Alright.
This server has people like that, and when they come in, just leave. That's my best bet. Best advice I can give you is just leave. It's not worth it. Sometimes there's cool people. Oh, also, if you ever want to hop into a competition, Friday night fights are a thing that we do in the server. So,
Well, I've already committed to a Friday night flights somewhere else.
man. Well, if you have time open at 2, I host the EU variant of it. So you're welcome to pop in for the EU variant. It's a little bit
what time?
earlier than the nights. It's about midday.
Eastern Standard, right?
Central.
Central. So you're an hour behind.
Yeah.
3 p.m. on Fridays. Yeah, I'm busy.
I'll tell you what. Did you already spawn in?
Yes, I'm sitting at the airfield. Let's see. Where to taxi? Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna actually think that I'm passing. I think I'm passing you actually. Let's see.
No, I see you. You're coming up.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead and group up with me. We'll do the same thing. We'll take off from the same runway. And I think we'll get another chance to do some landings, but I taught you a little bit about that low speed. That's the most important thing to know when landing. And then when we actually go in to get you a landing, what we're going to do is we're going to go through once with flaps and no gear, basically as slow as we can, and then we'll do one landing. So you'll just have one run up and then one go, right? Does that
Like
make
a dry
sense?
landing, really.
We'll have like a dry landing where you're not actually landing, but you're just going to try to go at a low altitude at low speed, like you're preparing to land, and you're adjusting your speed accordingly. Ideally, personally, I end up landing around 160 most of the time, at about like
Dang.
400 is what I'm losing. 400 feet per minute is like the altitude that I try to go for. If I see 400 and 160 as my speeds, I'm happy.
Obviously within the E bracket, right?
Yeah, ideally. It's more of a good way to get you aligned, and you want to stay there. It basically sets you up to where you're not going to tail strike and you're not going to be like slamming the aircraft down. It's good practice. If you need to work on like landing without it though, get as much practice as you can, even if some of it is bad practice. As long as you're getting on the runway, you can refine the little things. But don't just like crash into the runway over and over again. As long as you are landing and adjusting something, you're probably doing it the right way, right? Try to have yourself
Yeah, I mean,
set some standard for
I do kind of mess up my gear.
yeah, set some standards for yourself, but don't be unreasonable, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna slam that bitch down. It's gonna happen. You're gonna go out of the E bracket. Don't try to tell yourself you're not. Just to make sure that you're doing it in a way that you can correct and you're understanding what you're doing wrong, right? That's the most important part. Not that you do everything right, but that you learn from each experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're gonna do, you have your flaps and your rudder trim, right?
Flaps are at half.
Or I guess landing pitch trim is what you're supposed to do. There's a button to your left under your probe.
Button to my left.
So behind probe, there is a button on top of the rudder trim. You don't want to click the rudder trim, but you want to click the button on top and hold it. Does that make sense?
Where?
So look to your left, on your left console, right?
Right.
Do you see your throttle, right? Look behind that. Not the first panel, but the second one. The panel that says FCS, Flight Control System, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a red thing, a red cover. To the left of that red cover is your rudder trim and your takeoff trim pitch. So there's a button on top of that knob that you're going to press down and hold.
Hold, okay.
And then it'll pitch accordingly. Okay, now that you've done that, it'll probably make your takeoffs a bit smoother. Okay?
Yeah, I always press that button whenever I launch, turn on aircraft.
You should do it once everything is on and your flaps are on half. That's what I recommend. That's what I do, at least. I don't know that that's right or wrong, but it's what I always do.
Okay.
So again, we're not going to mess with anything else. We're going to just be super lazy on this run. Probably bad practice, but we're just going to work on the maneuvers and the landing. We're going to just, if we get shot down, we get shot down. There's nobody going to come to the training field, right? What are the chances, right? So we're going to just basically afterburner once we start to slip, but we're afterburning after we let off all the brakes so it catches us. That way there's no like jolt or anything, right? You'll see it starts to lift us. We're going to probably end up nose down a little bit, like pushing down on the stick to stay steady, and just climb slowly and gain speed. Pull your gear up, and once you feel like you're climbing at a steady rate and you're over all things that could cause problems, put your gear up, right? And we'll stop gaining speed at around 480.
Put your
And let me
flaps
know
to
when
auto.
you're there. Yeah, flaps to auto.
There, okay.
So, let me know when you're with me. I want you to get to about 400 behind me.
Get off the burners now. You're gonna catch up to them real quick.
Yeah. And I'm gonna teach you
Pull
something.
back on the throttle. Yeah.
Where is he?
There you go.
Let me know when he groups up to me. I'm gonna teach him how to, I guess, do a little bit more aggressive of a climb.
Yeah.
I want to
He's
teach
closing
him.
on you pretty quick. He's at 432 knots right now.
Okay.
This is
I'm
Hawk
gonna-
CFO, by the way.
Yo, what's up, Hawk?
Oh, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull to the left so he can pull off on my right.
Yeah,
Let's
he's
see.
at your 5 o'clock. He's about to. He's
Yep,
about to
and
sprint
that's
past you
why
on
we
your right wing.
scooched. Alright, so go ahead and pull up a little bit closer to my right wing. And I'm going
There
to
you
walk
go.
you through
Nice.
something. Nice. Beautiful. Beautiful. Much, much better.
Yeah.
That's okay. Alright, I want you to basically gun it. Just absolutely gun it.
alright.
And we're going to do a thing. We are going
Hold on a
to...
second. Hold on. Are your flaps in auto?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're going to do, 100% throttle. We're going to go in one direction. I'm going to be with you. And we are going to climb to as high as we can. So when I catch up to you, we are just going to go vertical. And when I say vertical, I don't mean entirely vertical. We're going to pull up slowly and gradually till we get to around 30 degrees. So, okay, you see the bracket that you're looking at? You're going to pass 5, go pull up, 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 up. And we're looking for 30. We are looking for 30. Climb to 45, just keep going, keep going. If you can go to 40, go to 40, right? Beautiful, just keep climbing until you're losing speed. And we're just gonna keep going.
Losing
Go
speed.
up, 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 up. Perfect. Level off to where you're slowly losing speed. I'm following you up. This is exactly what we want. And when you hit about 250, I want you to turn the plane. You want to turn the cockpit down to the earth, and I want you to pull down to where you level off. And when you level off, I want you to straighten up the plane. Does that make
So you wanna
sense?
level off.
Yeah. So, but instead of pushing the stick forward, I want you to turn, pull down to the earth, and then
Oh.
straighten the plane. Does that make sense?
Do that, what is the split S?
That's called the performance climb. Right after you take off, you can basically do that once you hit like 400-ish, and that'll help you gain a lot of speed really fast. Well, that'll you trade all your takeoff speed for like altitude, right? It's a good way to get up and into the fight really quick. Does that make sense?
Okay, so what do I do now that I'm right here?
That was just something I wanted to teach you because it's a good like basic thing to understand. We're gonna turn around
level
now.
off is what he's
Well, I did.
trying to tell you. So just
Okay.
there you go. Yep. Velocity
Yeah.
vector on the horizon line. Perfect.
And I want you to slow down to a reasonable speed.
Oh,
I'm gonna
slow.
try to catch up to you.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna do something. Okay.
He's at 38,000. So the air's thin up here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So it's
I
gonna
need more throttle
it-
for less.
yeah,
For us.
but you're also are you in burner?
No.
You can either do that or you can nose down slightly to pick up some more speed.
Yeah,
right?
go ahead and trade some of that altitude for airspeed, right? That's a really good thing to understand at BFM is trading altitude for airspeed.
Okay.
So
Are
go
you
ahead.
trying to teach him BFM kick? I mean, 'cause he's
Well, we're trying to
he's
teach
not
him.
there yet.
That's what I'm saying is he was trying to go
Yeah.
into BFM, and I'm like, let's teach him the basics of how to fly,
Oh yeah, that's
so then we can
BFM
get
is-
to BFM,
yeah.
right?
I would say BFM is the most advanced skill out of anything that you can do.
Oh, of course it is,
Yeah.
because it's all of this, but really fast and more advanced, right?
Yeah, extremely. Yeah.
It's like, and everybody thinks they can just hop in something. DCS is unforgiving. It's not like
Absolutely,
War
yeah.
Thunder. He's coming from War Thunder, right? So
Ah, okay. I've never tried War Thunder, so I'm not really qualified to know what he's
DCS
thinking,
is not an
or how
arcade
that
game.
works.
It is like a full force simulating tool, right? Like it is.
Yeah.
It is a game,
So,
but it is an
Let me ask you
incredibly
this, in
powerful
War
simulation
Thunder,
tool.
the throttle doesn't perform the same way. There's like no flight physics, right? Because what I
Much
noticed
more
is that
simplified.
he's trying to use the throttle to like set a specific speed, but in reality, you should be focused on the number in the box and like trying to keep that number at whatever number you want it at, right? So if you're
Yeah,
flying
your
formation,
nose
your
position
lead's gonna
is
tell you,
actually-
I'm at 300. Yeah, so you're like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, I want to try to be at 300, right? So you have to manipulate the throttles, and if you look at like pilots or like Blue Angels, like they're moving their throttle and the stick constantly. It's like little
Yeah.
tiny movements at
Yeah,
all times.
you
They're
can
trying to
use-
Yeah,
finesse
like I
it, right?
did. I
You
did
can
some
actually-
formation flying, and the throttle is very important in that.
So what's really
Yeah,
interesting,
perfect, yeah.
I'm going to teach you a thing. Now that I'm grouping up with you,
Great
I
job.
want you to start to push your nose down.
You can now spawn there.
Push
Good
your
luck
nose
with
down.
this work.
Not too far, like at a 5-degree angle. You see that 5-degree?
We
We're going
have
to go to the
that response.
5-degree, right?
You can now spawn there.
Gotcha.
Now, what do you notice when we're at that 5-degree angle? What does your airspeed look like? Steady?
Climbing. It's going up.
At the 5-degree angle?
He's at a negative 5 degrees angle right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
positive 5 degree. Okay.
right.
What's your
So
airspeed
it's
right
down,
now?
277 and declining.
Yeah, when you hit
It's dropping now.
220, I want you to start to use your nose down. Again, don't touch your throttle.
Nose down to what degree?
When you want to speed up, point your nose down at like a 5-degree angle. And or I guess a 10-degree, and we're going to use those 10-degree adjustments to control our speed. Hands off the actual throttle.
Right. Yeah. My hands are off completely.
So I want you to just use your pitch to adjust your speed. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Pitching down.
It's a good thing to learn how to do because it'll teach you, especially for landing, right? Because you need to know if you're pitching down to try to intercept the runway, are you gaining speed or losing speed, right?
Gaining speed.
Yeah, so when you feel like you're happy with your speed and you're ready to cruise, level off and continue. But that's a good thing, is you can control your speed 100% with that stick. You don't really need that throttle all the time. Does that make sense?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
it's gravity and throttle. Like it's not
Mhm.
just the throttle that's going to change your speed. It also depends on, where
Yeah.
your jet is pointing. If you're pointing up, you're going to lose speed. At some
Yeah.
point, the throttle's not going to matter anymore, right?
You can hold a speed, and actually you can reduce speed and put your nose down. That's something really interesting about the flaps, right? When you get slow enough, your flaps can be a way you can bleed speed and descend altitude, right? Because it's more surface area. That's a
Take it out
really
ASAP.
good thing to know how to
Yeah,
do.
increasing drag.
Yeah, because what you're doing is you're, let's say, pitching down at 5 degrees. Find a speed that you know you're going to be descending at, but you're going to gain a little speed, right? So like a 10 degree, right? So at that 10 degree mark on your HUD, you're gaining speed, right?
Positive.
Now I want you to put on your flaps to full.
Flaps. Flaps to full at negative 10 degrees.
Hmm. I want you to level up at like 5 degrees where you were still, descending, right?
We said level up at 5 degrees, so
Minus 5 degrees, right? Sorry.
okay.
So you're at minus 5 degrees. Are you still gaining altitude, or are you still gaining speed or losing speed?
I'm gaining speed.
At minus 5 with full flaps?
Yes.
Yeah, but he's got the throttles pegged at full mill, so.
Oh shit! I was
The other
telling
thing
him.
is,
Oh, okay, yeah, dude, cut your throttles 100% down.
yeah,
I was wondering what was happening with him.
yeah. Like
Yeah,
in real
turn
life,
off your
you would never
throttles.
be able to pull the flaps to full with at
Well,
those
yeah, it's
speeds.
just a
You would-
proof
you'd
of
break
concept,
the jet.
right? Yeah, that would be bad. I didn't realize he was at full. Dude, I'm sitting at like 200, right?
Yeah, he's at full mill. I maybe turn to the left a bit away from the sun because it's kind of hard to see the HUD.
Yeah.
It's just washing it
Go
out.
ahead and turn around, and I want you to basically pull your throttle completely back,
Yeah, it's already down.
all the way
He's
down.
dropping speed pretty quick. He's like
Perfect.
at 250 knots and dropping. So
250. I want you to keep like 250.
Yeah.
That's where I want you to
there
stay.
you go. Yeah. Yeah. So teach him that. Like, focus on trying to maintain that number in the box. 250, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
250. So.
So is
Yeah,
he
so try
at
to keep it
250 right now?
250. Don't go above, don't go below. Just practice that by manipulating the throttle.
Well, let's not manipulate the
And
throttle at
you're-
all. Let's keep 250 first by without the throttle.
It's okay, you want to do it without the throttle first, okay? Because you can do
Yeah.
it multiple ways, but yeah, if it's without
Let's
the
have
throttle,
him. Yeah.
and you want him to be with at throttle
Oh,
down.
he's
all
going
the way.
into the clouds. Let's go ahead and let's descend a little bit. Let's descend out of these clouds.
I'm not touching the stick, and it's like diving itself. I'm at 144 now.
Perfect.
I'm holding the stick at 15.
Oh, where'd he run off to? Perfect. Okay, so I'm at like 19.
He's at 22. He's slowly gaining speed, but it's very slow. 'Cause it's still flaps full, right?
You can go ahead and pull
So
off your
he's got a lot of
flaps.
drag.
Go ahead and pull off your flaps and try to meet up with me, and then we'll. I'm chilling at like
Yeah.
255. I'm comfortable at 255.
I don't see where you're at. Are you?
I'm over to your left. I'm at your like 11ish.
In front of you a little bit, slightly, yeah. Are you co-altitude with him?
I'm like 16,000. I'm descending a little bit, but that's because I'm trying to keep airspeed.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I'm just trimming through to keep my airspeed.
Okay. So what do I do now? With the flaps are on it right now.
Let me know where
Throttles
you're at.
off.
I don't quite see you yet. I want you to go ahead and catch up to me. Or I can catch up to you. What's your speed?
180.
180? Okay, yeah, speed up. I'm gonna group up with you.
What are you guys up to?
We're trying to teach,
Flight school.
flight school is the real, yeah. Yeah, go ahead and just keep heading the way you're heading. I'm gonna do something different, but that's because I'm catching up with you. So don't worry about me. Just keep doing what you're doing. I'm just hitting an intercept with you, okay?
Yep.
All right. What's your speed?
200.
200? Perfect. That's what I like to see. I think 200 is a great number. I love 200. Okay. I'm gonna catch up to you real quick. We are... How are we heading? We're heading in a good direction, but let's try to head a little bit to the left, okay? Like, basically due north, okay?
So that's to the right, right? Like bearing 000?
Oh, not to the right. I want, actually west. Head west. A little bit to left. That's my bad. Like, 260. Perfect. And again, I don't want you to be using your throttle. I want you to use your pitch to adjust your speed.
So throttle all the way off?
Yep, 100%. And you can descend a little bit under these clouds. I want you to get under this cloud wall and in between them so that you're not like going to be flying through clouds. Let's add less problems at once, right? So descend, like 14,000 feet-ish. Beautiful. I am right below you, so this is perfect. I'm off to your right wing, so you don't have to worry. 14,000 feet, level off. Pull, 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 pull. Amazing. Much better. Okay. So, let's go over some jazz, alright? Your throttle's 100% back, correct?
Right.
I'm going to teach you something called a chantel. I think that's what it's called. I'm not going to tell you it's exactly what it's called. I want you to wait for a little bit, and I want you... I'm going to walk you through what's going to happen. You're going to start getting really slow. You're going to gradually pull up and climb, but we're going to do this when we get, like, under 200. And basically, when we hit 280, we're going to start pitching up. When we stall, we're going to push our sticks from back to forward, so we're going to start pulling our nose down. And ideally, what that's going to do is it's going to let us glide right out of our stall, right? We're just recovering a stall. Does that make sense? So watch
He's
me
at
do it.
140 right
Trying to
now.
picture it.
Watch what I'm doing. I'm going to start climbing up until I stall out of the air.
An enemy
I hear that
convoy
stall
has been
horn.
spotted trying to recapture
Stick
one of
goes
our bases.
forward. I pitch
Turn
down
east as soon as you can.
to like a 40 degree. I gain some speed, and without ever touching my throttle, I have now recovered the stall.
Okay.
Does that make
And
sense?
he's about to stall. He's at 130. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Go ahead and pull up
But
until you hear
yeah,
that stall
go.
horn. And once you hear the stall horn, go ahead and try to build up your speed and pull out of it, okay? It's okay to dive through the clouds. If you need to dive through the clouds,
Yeah.
dive through the clouds, but don't exceed like a 40-degree dive angle, or you could run into problems.
Yeah, very
Alright, I'm
good.
back
He,
at 200.
yeah, that was good.
Yeah, there we go. See, now what is your speed now? 200-ish?
200. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Drop
So
back
that's
down.
called that's what you have to do that a lot when you're dogfighting, right? Stall recovery is huge. Really important. It's going to be a skill.
Yeah,
So I
there's a
want you to
last switch in this cockpit for it.
Yeah, it's going to yell at you essentially when you do that. But it's a good thing because we want you to have to approach those problems, right? So that you know what to do and it doesn't like throw you off of your maneuvering, right? Keep going the way you're going. I'm just going to group up with you. And I'm going to teach you another thing. And this is actually a perfect little open space to work on that thing I was telling you about. So,
He's still at idle, so he's losing speed. He's
Beautiful.
about to stall again. So.
if he needs to,
The-
he knows how to do it now. When he hears that stall horn,
Yeah.
he can use that forward stick. We want him to come into
And the
problems
reason
like
why
that.
the gear is yelling at you is because the plane's thinking, oh, is he in a landing configuration? You need to put your gear down. You're slow, you know.
Yeah.
But you're not. You're learning something.
We're
different.
learning stall.
Just ignore it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So now what I want you to do, I want you to put flaps at half, right?
Done. And now I'm pitching down.
Yep. And I want you, this will help you in slow flight, but it also will mean sometimes you have to use a little bit more throttle. So we're now getting to a point where we actually, without adding any throttle, will probably run out of airspeed and we'll run out of altitude, right? Does that make sense? So I'm going to teach you something. Now that we are at a slow speed, like 200-ish, and we're on near the ground, we have our flaps up. I want you to put that gear down. Does that make
Flaps
sense?
up and gear down?
No, flaps down. And also put your gear down, right? And you'll see a
Flaps all the
bracket
way
show
up.
up. Do you see that bracket?
Yeah.
And using that same thing I taught you, I want you to try to get that that thing into the bracket.
With
And
the
when you
throttle?
see that bracket start to fall to the bottom of your HUD, I want you to use your throttle, like I showed you, to push that bracket up. And then I want you to let go of the throttle when you're in that bracket.
Well, he
Does
has
that-
to trim to get that in the E bracket. So
Well,
trim up.
he's going to have to... well, I'm trying to teach him throttle management right now. This is...
Right, but it's already too high, so.
Oh, he's already
the
too
E
high?
bracket is above, so he has to trim up to get the.
Well, he can
basically,
pull
I
up.
don't know. Does he have the trim mapped?
Let's have him just slowly pull up and do it gradually because trim is just an adjustment, right? Let's get it manual so he can then trim out so we can have less input. We're going to work on that in a moment. So he's
you're
pulling
saying
on the
for
stick.
him to pull the stick to.
Yeah, we were going to use the stick to adjust our AOA, right?
Oh.
We're doing
That's
it manually.
not what you want to do.
I know, but this
you
is
don't
this is
wanna do
trust
that.
the process for this, right? The reason I'm doing this is because then we're going to start to use the trim to let him use less stick, right? But
He's got it in there now.
okay, he's in the bracket right now. So and you're pulling
yeah,
back,
but
right?
like Cake said, now you can use the throttle to bring it. He's basically
Yeah,
on
but I'm
speed,
using the
although.
stick to stay in there. Now, if I let go of
right.
the stick,
Yeah.
it's above it.
And you can
exactly,
use- your trim so where you can just basically go in a straight line in that bracket by just adjusting your trim and then just adjusting your throttle
you
from
go.
there. Does that make sense?
Nice. He's
And
doing
I-
it. Yeah, that's perfect.
And what I want you to do, this is what is going to feel like when you're landing. This is what landing should feel like. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And you
this is
see
what's
that
called flying on
hand
speed.
this
yeah,
is
my
on
hand
speed.
is not on the stick, it's only on the throttle.
Beautiful. That's perfect.
This
is
is
what T-Rock was
amazing.
trying to tell you, but not very well.
Because he didn't have the basics, he
he
didn't have the fundamentals. How was he going to know
Right,
how to do
right.
this, right? So
No,
that's why
well,
I was trying to teach
T-Rock
him the
was just
fundamentals.
Losing his cool on him for some weird reason, but
Yeah.
this is called flying on
Yeah,
speed.
no,
What you're
yeah.
doing right now is flying
Yeah.
on speed, and you don't want to use. And when you're in this configuration, you don't want to use the stick to ascend or descend. You want to use the throttle. Which basically what you're
Okay.
doing right now is perfect.
Yeah, so
like,
that's what I did like 2 times before.
when you're doing it, you were doing it right.
He called it
yeah.
a trim landing.
Nah,
He told me about
I've
it.
never heard it called that way. It's just flying
Well,
on speed.
I think he mentioned it. I was like, oh, so a trim landing. That's the name I gave it, I guess.
T-Rock said that.
No, another friend of
Oh.
mine.
He just
named
doesn't
Mark.
understand the theory behind it. It's okay.
Right.
It's a learning
But
experience,
he's
right?
doing great. Like he's flying on speed like beautifully.
Perfect on
So,
speed?
like, I'm
Beautiful.
gliding.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect
So I want
on
you-
speed. Like yeah.
So what we're going to do, now that you understand how to do that landing, we're going to pull up our gear, and we're going to add a little bit of throttle, and when we hit 200 on our speed, we're going to put our flaps up to auto. Does that make sense?
Alright, it's pitching me up now.
Okay,
It's 'cause
200
his flaps are down, but yeah.
Yeah, well, now that he hits 200, flaps auto.
Well, he's not because
I'm not
he's
at
trimmed
200.
up. Remember, so the
Yeah.
nose is pointing up automatically, and he's losing speed.
I'll
If
be
he
right
needs
back
to,
now.
he can
Yeah.
adjust that trim.
Yeah, I would pull the flaps up in the auto because there's less drag, and you're not gonna pitch up. And it's called ballooning. Like if you notice, I saw you do it before. You put the flaps down. Whoa, somebody's shooting you. What the hell?
Yep, we're gonna try some landing now.
Who is
Sorry,
that? Oh, is that you shooting him?
that's me. I'm right behind him.
Oh.
Okay.
Now we go to some landing.
I thought it was
Okay,
T-Rock.
sorry, we don't have I didn't. We're so far away from base. It had to happen, right?
If it was T-Rock, I would have just ulted forward and said, fuck you.
Yeah. It's not T-Rock.
I
Don't
don't
worry.
even see him in the server. He's gone, right? Was he?
I
how was he
gotta
talking
mess
in
with
the
you a little
server?
bit. I gotta keep it a little less than serious, right? But now you understand. Now you understand the basics. That's one of the most important things with dogfighting is speed management and altitude management, right?
Gotcha.
That concept,
Follow you.
understanding that to a better degree than the other person will put you far ahead of them, no matter what they know about one circle, two circle, whatever, right? Does that make sense? That is the most important thing, because all dogfighting is managing your speed and altitude better than the other person so that you get the angle you want, right? Am I
Energy.
wrong? Am I off base?
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Energy management. Yep, that's what. Yep.
So that's what I was teaching him is energy management. And now we've gone over the most important form of energy management. So now let's go into some aerobatics, right? You got a little bit of a taste of a split S, a little bit of a taste of an Immelman, right?
Not really.
Well, I mean, you know what it is and you've seen someone do it, right? There's a less than zero understanding. You know how to recover from a stall, you know?
Kind of.
Yeah, I
Oh.
think he's ready for that now. Split as an Immelman. So
We're gonna try, a wing over, or I guess hammerhead, some post stall recovery, right? Something that involves some rudder, you know. Because I want
yeah,
him.
I
to
think
be,
that's good. It's what the Hornet flies very well at slow speeds because the flight surfaces are massive.
It is
So
wonderful.
when you're slow, you will see the rudder authority is amazing,
Insane.
right?
Especially when
Yeah,
you're combining that with dual throttles, it's like you
yeah,
have so much
yeah.
like on
I wouldn't even get
on
him into
the
that right now.
X
That's, like, way
axis.
advanced.
You can
I
move
don't
so
even have
much
dual
nose.
throttles, so I can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can put
You
your
don't need them,
nose.
but that's pretty advanced. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you
just
really
keep the
don't.
nose pointed at somebody. Yeah.
It's good for like taking off and not having to use throttle though. One of my favorite things with the F-18 is splitting the throttles when you're taking off, so you don't have to like
Yeah.
rudder all the way through the takeoff. You know, fucking love that. Also, when you're like slightly off on your angle for approach, you can just like throttle one hot like harder than the other to end up the way you want without having to adjust your speed and shit. It's amazing.
Yeah.
No dipping of
what's
wings.
Stackhouse and them doing? Are they like learning the F4 or something?
I don't know.
TCS.
I've decided that I have no idea what
40.
Stackhouse does in this server. Stackhouse scares me. Stackhouse and T-Rock are a breed of their own.
You go ahead.
You get the right away, bro. I'm merging. gotta
Reload.
yield to ya.
He's always killing everybody.
Yeah, reload. Reload's a creature, dude.
He doesn't like the Hornet though. He hates the Hornet.
That actually
Sneaky
feels
Hornet.
reasonable. You know, doesn't he fly the 16?
Flies everything but the Hornet. I mean, he's been flying the Hornet more, but he doesn't like it because it kills him. So, and now he really likes the Mirage, but I think the Mirage is broken or breaking because of the whole Razbam drama.
What actually went on with
Oh,
Razbam?
not
I
just
heard
the
about the
15th
drama with
edition.
Razbam.
The Strike Eagle, the Harrier, and
We
the
have lost
Mirage
the
are
base.
all Razbam.
Regroup and recapture it as soon as you
modules.
can.
What's going on with Razbam? Speaking of which,
They
didn't they
just
like sell
can't
information to
get
the
through the
to
drama.
some government, right?
No, I don't think it's anything like that. It had something to do with their like contract agreements with Eagle Dynamics and proprietary data or something. I honestly don't. I don't know the details. I don't understand it. I should say.
I read like some screenshot where he said I have to buy my own module now. Like it's like a blacklist type thing is what I'm kind of getting at.
Yeah.
His
Okay.
Stuff.
So here's what we're gonna do, right? We're gonna take off. We're gonna merge up. We're gonna go into a circuit around there. We're gonna try landing just once, but we're not gonna land. Does that make sense? We're just gonna touch and go.
Just hover like I did before.
No, we're gonna just the wheels are gonna touch the ground and you're gonna take right back off, right?
You're gonna land, but you're not gonna stop. You're gonna land,
Mhm.
and then you're gonna throttle
And
up
then
and take off again.
as long as you hit that touch and go within reason, what we're gonna do right after that is we're gonna go into some maneuvering or some aerobatics.
Okay. So, still there?
You're cutting in and out, Cake.